What is up, everyone? Happy motherfucking Monday. Oh my god, my dog is scratching on the door. Jiminy Crickets, people. So I hope everyone is having an amazing day. It is beautiful freaking weather here. I know that a lot of people are still dealing with the cold. You guys gotta let me know if I get all robot-y. So let's say hello. Hello, Dragon Spirit. Amazing Grace Jess. Lion Mama. Flossie. Hope the kiddo feels better soon. Lickety Split. Libby. What's up? What's up? So, what a day. What a freaking day. I had a bit of momentary insanity today and decided to commit to a 4-week military calisthenics workout thing. I don't know. If I suddenly disappear, it's because I'm dead. Hello, skunk. Yeah, see, it's like 82 today. And then for the whole rest of the week, I think the highest it's going to get is like 85. And then we're supposed to get more rain, which is kind of cool because we're in a drought where I'm at right now, which I don't know how one of the swampiest ass states can be in a drought, but we are. You're playing with dangerous yard tools. Be careful with your tools, skunk. So, yeah, I don't know. I love being outside when it's beautiful like this. So, I apologize for the freaking weirdos across the street who had had enough time to build a monument by now. They're always over there grinding and building and deconstructing and reconstructing. It's nuts. And then, of course, dogs and shit like that. Hello, archivist. So, today's the day where you guys get inside my head. And the way this all came about is just so fucking ridiculous. It was because I was asked a question, right? I was asked a question, and then I didn't have a way to answer it. I would normally never do this shit. Like, if you want to ask me something, ask me. I'll answer it. It doesn't have to be a whole big thing. But now it is. Comments aren't moving again. So I guess to kick it off, we will start talking about what is happening in the sky. We have a blood moon tomorrow morning. It'll be a total lunar eclipse where the sun and the moon will collide and it will turn bright red. And of course, with all of that comes big energy shifts and all that fun stuff. So, if you're not sure what time it's going to be visible where you're at, I posted like a little map on my community page and just go check your area. I think it starts, it's like 5 o'clock my time it's going to peak. So, and I'm central. So it'll be 6 o'clock Eastern and, just moves to the left with the time zones. But I intend to be up watching for it. I'm always up around that time anyway. So yeah, you're gonna have a partial at 6:04 and then it peaks at 6:33. My dog really wants to get outside right now, so I'm gonna have to move. Um, and then we won't have another total lunar eclipse until December of 2028. So, what does the blood moon mean for us? Well, it's simple. Hang on, these comments are going to drive me crazy. I'm going to go back out and come back in and hope that fixes it. Yeah, it didn't fix it. Okay. So biblical prophecies, it correlates to Joel 2:31 and Acts 2:20 about the moon turning to blood before the day of the Lord. Astrologically, Virgo's in alignment is going to emphasize practicality, health, routine adjustments. You're going to feel some emotional intensity. You're going to be like, you're just going to be figuring some shit out, right? Like why you feel the way you feel. And yes, archivist, that helps. Hey, Freeside. Routine adjustments, like you might figure out that the routine you have going just isn't working for you anymore. So you're going to want to shift that a little bit. And a lot of that could be based on your relationships, your friendships. You're going to start feeling restless. You might have insomnia, light sensitivity, noise sensitivity. I mean, there's just so much intuitive clarity. You might like, not everyone's going to automatically turn psychic. That's not what I'm saying. But because your soul and your body is waking up to certain things energetically, you're going to start figuring things out a little bit sooner, which falls right in line with what I talked about the last time, which apparently was perceived as something else. The whole fire horse thing. We'll get into that though. This is a purging moon though. This is where you're going to want to get rid of all the shit that is of no use to you anymore. Leave it behind. It did you no good when you were hanging on to it before. What makes you think that it's going to be any different now? And honestly, the whole world is shifting, right? Like the whole world's going to shit. And I told you guys last time, look at everything that's going on. And I am not in any way, shape, or form going to turn this into anything political. I don't do politics. As much as I think that it's important to vote and to make small changes along the way, in the end, it's all going to end the same, right? Like there's no changing how the story ends. The end has already been written, and that's just the way it is. So it's our job as human beings to make the best of it while we're here, but we have already destroyed this whole world. Humans suck. Hello, crybaby. Fleece, hello. Let me see. And I said hi to Freeside. So yeah, so we did this whole question thing, right? I gave everyone like a week. And it's not like this is some new idea. I've been talking about doing one of these for a while. I did one a couple of years ago and it was really fun. I enjoyed reading some of the questions that people sent in then, and I got some crazy ones this time too. If I don't read your question, it's because you're way out of fucking line and you know it. And I'm just not going to go there. Some of you people are assholes, okay? I'm not going to give anyone's names of who asked the questions because a lot of them came through on email. And I'm not going to dox anybody, despite everyone thinking that we all dox. I've never fucking doxed anyone in my life. So put that in your little fucking notebook. So I don't know if I want to start with like the easy ones. Um, And then if you guys have any questions, you can always post them in the chat because it looks like chat's moving now. I can see them. I want to go ahead and answer Jess's question from the chat. She wants to know what I think about Ernie's court hearing. Well, I think that there was a lot of lies that were told, things that we know are not true. I think that as much as we all know about him, we know about his history, the crimes he's committed, the things he's been involved with, we also have to take into consideration that this is his first offense or first offenses in that state. They're not going to throw the book at anyone and lock them away forever on your first offense. You have to remember that we are dealing with jails being overcrowded nationwide. Um, and then when you look at his charges and you see assault on a police officer, that's pretty bad. Like, you can't just go around doing shit like that. I think that he got off very easy, and he would be a damn fool not to look at this as an opportunity to really change his ways. What bothers me about that is because I don't think that that's where his head is at. If he's already wanting people from YouTube to contact him so he can figure out what they think about all this. Now, I have no issues with him. I wish him the best. I have always maintained that. I think that his attorney is a freaking idiot. I thought his public speaking sucked. There was a lot of judge, yes, your honor, like, get it together, buddy. And I know everyone is all up in arms because they feel like his attorney did not do any fact checking of all the claims that he made and all these different careers he's had. Well, that's not really his attorney's job. That would have been the prosecution team's job had it gone to trial. Had it gone to trial, all of that stuff would have been looked into a little further. But he took the easy way out, and most people do. If you're offered a plea with such a little amount of time, but this is just the beginning of the road, right? Like, he still has to deal with Kentucky. And eventually, all the shit that you do in life is going to catch up to you, right? We've all experienced that. Police says that he did not have a question, but he can admit to being an asshole. Or something like that. Where'd it go? Yeah, humans suck. We just suck. We're wired that way. Hello, no patience. Who else snuck in? Earth Angel. Hello, Ash. You guys would never know that, like, what, a year ago, Ash and I couldn't stand each other. Not really. I never had anything against her. It's funny now looking back on it, and I think that randomly Ash can agree with that. It was just so fucking silly. But that's the way the YouTube cookie crumbles. All right, I guess we will start digging into these questions, you crazy kids. All right, first up, what were you like as a kid growing up? Well, as a kid, like, probably up until about 6th grade, I was very shy, very quiet. I was just super shy and super quiet. Hang on one second. Okay, sorry. My son was walking by, going inside, so I had to be on guard in case the dog tried to run out. But yeah, I was very meek and timid and just not very sure of myself. I was a kid, but I was happy being in my own little world. I've always been very artistic, so I was never bored. And, I had my little best friend that lived right next door to me, and my other best friend lived down the street. So We did all the things. Now, when I got to middle school, when I got to middle school, that was a different story. Sixth grade, I was just kind of trying to figure out who I was. Seventh grade rolls around, and I was a hellion. I only have one sibling. There's 7 years between us, and we are like night and day. My brother was the goody goody, the perfect child, and I was the one that was going to do everything that I was told not to do. And I did it with everything I had in me, too. Yes, I did have fist fights as a kid. In fact, that best friend I told you about, we used to beat the shit out of each other all the time. We'd get off the bus coming home from school and just brawl it out right there on the corner. It was horrible. But, kids. So seventh, eighth grade through middle school, it was always, I started really morphing into my own personality, which went against the grain, of course. Um, high school was tricky because that is the time that I moved from the South to the West Coast when I was 15 years old, which was very traumatic at 15 to leave a place you have lived your entire life and go. It was like a complete culture shock. I remember when we were traveling to Vegas to move there, and we stopped in New Mexico, I believe. And my brother and I went to go see a movie. And it was the first time I ever saw someone wearing socks and Birkenstocks. And that was like the strangest thing to me because people don't dress like that here. So, yeah, going from Louisiana to Las Vegas at 15, it was it was a lot. And when I left here, I was a sophomore in high school. I had just started my 10th grade year. When I moved out there, the credit requirements were so different. There were classes that I needed. So I had to go back to freaking ninth grade. So that sucked. But once I got out there, I got comfortable. My dad owned a business, so I was able to work for him after school. I was still a hellion at that point, and Vegas was my playground. I gave my parents hell. I didn't really get into a lot of trouble, like just your normal stuff, ditching school and bad grades, which weren't too terrible, but like I wasn't allowed to get C's. Um, Staying out too late and missing curfew. I didn't get in trouble for any of the big stuff. I was a tagger. I hung out at the skate park and did all the things. And luckily, I never got into any kind of legal trouble or anything like that. I probably would have done me some good back then because I did end up creating a lot of situations for myself that could have been avoided. Yes, I was totally a tagger. My tag was Muse, Muze. So if you're ever out in Vegas and you see that around, it's not me, it's an imposter. I'm not there anymore. But yeah, we used to go hang out at there was this thrift store called Vintage Madness, and we used to go there all the time. And then there was Tower Records, and then we would just always go to Dick Blick Art Supply and get huge markers and stuff like that, and just made a day of it. And it was a lot of fun. I had some of the best times out there. Once I got towards my senior year of high school, I suffered my first real heartbreak. Um, it was bad. It was pretty bad. We were very volatile at the end, and I switched schools. He ended up going to the same school I went to, huge fight happened, didn't talk for a while, and then I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot at 16 and 17 years old. Senior year, I decided, I just have to get out of school and just be done with this. So I buckled down. I had always done dance all throughout school, even though I was a crazy kid. So my senior year, I just threw myself into it 180%. I did dance team. I wrote for the school paper. I did yearbook. I was in DECA, which, if no one's familiar with that, it is Distributed Education Clubs of America. I was actually the chapter president for my school, and I was the vice president for our region. Got to go to Canada on a trip for DECA, and because it was like a marketing thing, I had to like create a store, like a whole concept. I had to come up with the name, the theme of the store. My dad was in plastic fabrication work, and so he actually built me a model of the store, and it was pretty cool. I didn't win the competition, but it was a lot of fun. Canada is beautiful. And I was 18 at that time, so I was able to smoke cigarettes and nobody could say shit to me because I used to be a really big smoker. Real Trump said, do I still write? Yes, I do. On the daily. I write poetry. I journal every day. I'm always writing. And I am old school. I prefer pen and paper. That's why whenever I'm like doing something that I have to stay on task, you'll hear papers rattling. It's because I write everything down. I love it. So I did all of that my senior year, graduated with honors, and then I went to college for a little bit. Decided I needed some time to, I think the excuse I used was find myself. And I really didn't find myself. I found boredom that needed to be taken care of. So eventually went back to school, and some people do not know this, but Charlotte's Webbing, let me enlighten you, bitch. I already have one college degree, you Nimrod. I'm not licensed to practice now, but I'm actually a massage therapist, you freak of nature. Charlotte's Webbing is always on my ass about how long it's taken me to go back to school this time because I do it at my own pace, right? My kids come first. So she can fuck off. I specialized in sports injury massage and shiatsu, which is like pressure point. Then as a young adult, well, that's stories for another day. But that's what I was like as a kid growing up, shy and rebellious, all at the same time. Next question, what is my favorite color? Blue and black. I like blue because it's one of the only colors that looks good on me with my red hair and my blue eyes. I like black just because I'm just that person. I prefer darker colors. So that was an easy one. Next up, what do you do when you're not on YouTube? Well, I am always on here listening to something. I know that you guys probably see me in chats a lot and things like that. I'm always listening to something. And it's not always people from our community that I'm listening to either. But I have lots of hobbies when I'm not on YouTube. Like I said, I'm a mom first. Um, of three, two are grown, even though they're still under my roof. They're very young adults. And I have one that's in middle school. So I take care of them. They're involved in stuff. One's in school to be a dental hygienist, the other one's a diesel mechanic. And then Mini Me has all of her clubs and activities, flag football. She was going to do dance, but decided to do cheer. I mean, there's just so much. Hang on. I'll get to your question in just a second. I also paint. I draw. I am an avid crafter. I will always try to repurpose and refinish things. I'm a cheap ass. I don't like to spend tons of money on brand new stuff. I like to do things myself. So I enjoy working out, obviously. I like being outside, walking. So that's what I do when I'm not on YouTube. Question from the chat: when will I cam up? I'll never tell. It will be a surprise. I don't know why it's such an issue. But yeah, one day I'll cam up. And I've cammed up before. So I don't know. Okay, this one was a good one. Why did I start a channel? Momentary lapse of judgment. I don't know. I started out in true crime. I was a mod on another channel and got to know that creator. And oh, we know. See, it's people like that. Why are you even here? I'm not talking about the one bad picture that you idiots have. I'm talking about all the other times I cammed up. Why don't you cam up? Or at least come in on your real account. So why did I start a channel? I started a channel because the creator that I got to know really well, we had been talking about some things. It was at the peak of Summer's case. I never covered Summer, had no desire to, but that person convinced me, you should go ahead and start a channel. And I will support that. And I did it. And my channel grew pretty quick. And then I stayed in true crime for a while, and it's draining. It is exhausting. It's sad when you talk to some of these family members of victims. It just got to be a lot. And I started getting some threatening emails and stuff from a particular case I was covering. And safety comes first, I took a break from that, and even though I still do what I do for cases in my own time and I don't necessarily do it on here, do I regret starting a channel? Sometimes. It's a lot to keep it going. There's some days where I'm just like, fuck, do I even want to do this anymore? But I don't want to discourage anyone from starting a channel. I think if you're even considering it, then just weigh all your options. Make sure that you want to deal with people like this, like we're dealing with today, because you are up in front of everyone, and people are just mean. They're just dicks for no reason. Because everyone always has something to prove, right? So I originally started a channel to cover cases that never got any traction or exposure. They were somewhat cold cases, and cases with corruption involved and things like that. But I have met a lot of amazing people by doing that, and I've been able to make some headway in a couple of the cases, and I'll just leave it at that. This was a good one. I'm sure a lot of people have this question. Why do you hang out with the mean girls? Oh, fuck. Let's see. What had happened was I used to not get along with any of them. Like Nick and I didn't get along, and it wasn't that there was any reason for it. When the whole, like, gosh, it's been so many separations ago, I can't even remember which one did it. But at one point, we were all kind of one big community, right? Like, Benny was here, Ernie was here, Crafting Through the Shit Bucket was here, just a lot of people, and rap. And then, shit started happening, division started. I've never been one that whenever there was any kind of division that I just chose a side. Like, I'm not going to do that. I will sit my happy ass where it's at, and I will let the people on the sides do the work for me. If you quit talking to me, I'm going to quit talking to you. It's that simple. Doesn't have to be any big conflict. It wasn't until Hummingbird Carver, looking at you, ma'am, made a shitty ass comment about Nick's daughter a couple of years ago. And me, out of all people, called her out for it and said, fuck you, you're lying, you said that shit. And then we just started talking. I started hanging out in Nick's chat more, which I was always in her chat. I just didn't chat with anyone. And started getting to know people a little better. And then I was just adopted, I guess. And people want to make it like it's some big, huge thing, when in all actuality, none of us started the whole Mean Girls thing, right? That name was given by someone else and it just kind of stuck. But now it's like a thing. So we're going to just roll with it. But why do I hang out with them? I hang out with them because although some have done shitty things, they are some of the best friends that I've had in my adult years. I know that if I needed anything, anytime, day or night, that I could go to them and they would be there for me. You guys only see what you see on YouTube. You don't see the behind the scenes shit. And I know that you all sit there and think that all we do is plot and plan and scheme and do all this crazy shit. No, we don't do that. Has it happened? Yeah. And a lot of the people who were like, oh my gosh, did you see what they did? Did you hear what they said? They were all right there too, doing it. And it was only a problem when they left. Not everyone left on bad terms like everyone would like to think. Wait, oh, are you talking about the comment that Hummingbird made? Yeah. Can you guys hear me now? I don't, my earbuds took a shit on me. Hang on. So, what's the last thing you guys heard? Did you guys hear the next question that I asked? Okay, the next question that I talked about was, am I a dog or a cat person? I love all animals. I would bring them all home with me if I could. But I have a cat allergy, so I am a dog mama. I am the proud mama of a pit bull, a black lab, and I have a grand puppy, which is a 9-pound toy Dachshund, and she's super cute. I would love cats, but I have COPD and it would just be a nightmare. So, unless you guys want to visit me in the hospital, can't have it. What is your favorite food? I'm a pasta girl. I love pasta. All the carbs, give them to me. But I try not to eat them so much. I think probably my favorite thing right now is blackened chicken wraps. That's like my jam right now. Where's the beef? I am not much of a red meat person. Did you know that you don't ever fully digest red meat? And that's actually like one of the health problems that John Wayne had. Um, all right, I'll tell you guys a story. When I lived in Vegas for the second time as an adult, my dad did some work making some sign things for a guy who had this place. It was called Healing Waters. Can anyone take a guess what kind of business it was? You'll never guess. No guesses? Yes, Lozzie got it. So before you go in and you have that procedure done, okay, and yes, my brother and I both did it, not together, not at the same time, but you know, as business owners, my dad was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And the guy explained. He's like, "Yeah, you guys come down and we'll get you set up. It's great for gut health and blah blah blah." Hey, Izzy. So I did, and it was the worst experience of my life. I felt so sick afterwards because you're basically forcing out all the toxins in your body. And I was dizzy. I couldn't drive home from the place. I was a mess. So before they'll let you have the procedure done, you have to like read this little book and it explains what it's good for, the benefits, the risks, all that stuff. But yeah, when they did John Wayne's autopsy, they found, I forget exactly how many pounds, it was a lot. But when your body doesn't digest meat or any other things, it builds up. And that's how parasites and things grow, which can lead to colon cancer. So you have to take care of your body. So yeah, my favorite food right now, blackened chicken wraps on a whole wheat sandwich wrap with lettuce and a little bit of ranch. Not much because calories, and cheese, and a pickle on the side. This one was a silly one. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Duh, the chicken. The Bible didn't say nothing about Noah bringing eggs 2 by 2 onto the ark. He brought chickens, though. What is my favorite type of music? Well, if you've ever perused my community page, that's a pretty good indicator. Grunge, alti, you know, I like Danzig, I like Sonic Youth, Misfits, White Zombie, all that stuff. But I also used to be a serious, hardcore drum and bass junkie back in my rave days. Yeah. Ew, I don't like cottage cheese. I will try that though. I will try it because it's probably actually very good. So I'm going to screenshot your comment real quick so I remember how to do it. But yeah, I like all music. I just like music in general. It's so much emotion and just music's great. Let's see. There's a couple that I'm saving till the end. Dun, dun, dun. Only one more page left, you guys. Are you bored yet? Are you learning anything interesting? How old are you? That was a rude question. You should never ask a lady how old she is. I am 25 times 2. I'm not ashamed. What are my hobbies? Well, I think I talked a little bit about that earlier. Painting. I still dance with my kiddo. Like, I help her practice and do all the things she needs to do. Uh, yeah. Oh, I grow my own herbs and stuff like that. So I love to be out in the garden. Unfortunately, here we have to have a raised garden because our soil is that icky red clay crap that you can't grow anything in except weeds, and not the good kind. Okay, someone wanted to know, if you don't recall, Ash, I'll get your question in just a second. Someone had asked about a business that I used to own that I've talked about before. When my mom was sick and we moved here, my dad had just opened a restaurant and he gave it to us. His heart wasn't in it anymore. So someone asked, what was my favorite item on the menu and what was it? Like, what was the item and describe it? Well, because I sold that restaurant and is no longer around, I don't mind telling you the exact name of the item. It's it is what it is. It was called the Bo Burger. And not B-O, it was Beaux, which is the Cajun way of spelling it. And it was the best fucking hamburger. It was Angus ground beef, and the bun was, they're called Sarah Pardon rolls, and they're really thick. It's kind of like, it tastes similar to brioche bread, if you've ever had that, which is kind of like a sweet bread, but not sweet like the Hawaiian bread. It's a different sweetness. And it was a half-pound burger on that bread, and it was just, it was delicious. I made one up for the menu called the Cowboy Burger, and it's kind of like a Western cheeseburger. It had barbecue sauce and bacon and sharp cheddar cheese and onion rings. Kind of like the Western bacon cheeseburger or something from Carl's Jr., I think. Yeah, that's what it was. So that was our most popular item. Now, because of the type of like restaurant it was, we had specials every day for like lunch. And at that time that we were open, they were filming a lot of movies out here. So we did really well. It's just on normal times of the year, the location sucked. I love sourdough bread. Are you kidding me? All right, let me get back to Ash's question. What's one thing I've changed about myself for the better? I think probably one of the best things I ever did for myself is acceptance. I used to be very hard on myself, and I think I explained last time I used to be very mean too. So I just kind of, through trial and error, just kind of learned to stop taking myself so seriously. And I had to let down some walls and let people into my life that were there to help me grow. Because in the areas that I have grown, I didn't do it all by myself. Like, I had people that inspired me or that helped me and advised me along the way. Like, nobody is equipped to get through this life alone. We're not meant to go through it alone. And I think that's why I have learned to value people so much, is because I believe that you can learn something from just about everyone. Thank you, Amber. Love you too. Been a member for 1 month. When I put the comment up there, I can only see one at a time. Hey, Beth. Yes, never stop learning. I agree, Real Trump said. I think that nobody is ever at a point in their life where you just know everything. It's impossible. I don't know how many times, like I've said it so many times. Every day that you wake up is an opportunity to learn and grow. And I have so much sympathy for the people who don't take advantage of that. All right, next question. Okay, another good question is, what advice would I give someone middle age who is looking to start a business in a completely different field than what they've been in? Um, with the business I have now, which is very small, it's a one woman show. I do everything myself. It's a completely different situation than when we had the restaurant. I would say go for it. That would be my first bit of advice. Just take that leap. Definitely make sure that you've weighed all the pros and cons about the time that it's going to take to get the business, because it takes about 2 years, which it might even be a little longer these days, but usually the average is about 2 years for a business to get up and running and actually start seeing a little bit of a profit. I would definitely say start small, depending on what type of business you're looking to open. If it's something that you can do by yourself, do it with just you and one or two other people for as long as you can, and then grow it. Um, Word of mouth is going to be your best advertising. You are your best marketing tool. And just live your dream. Don't let fear dictate and hold you back. It is a scary thing, especially when you start looking at the dollars going out the door to get said business going. It's a lot and it can be very intimidating. But just believe in yourself and do it. And I am always available if you have any further questions or need any other advice. And I think I kind of hold true to that with everything. Just take that chance because life is short. Let's see. Have I always been active? And when did I start my fitness journey and working out and why. Yes, I have always been active. Other times, like sometimes I'm not as active as I should be. There was a period of time where I was just going through it and I got very unhealthy for a couple of years, or for a few years actually. It was a gradual progression. But that's usually what happens. You go through your shit and it takes form and shows up in unfortunate ways. But like I said, all growing up, I was in dance and things like that. So that kept me pretty active. Not to mention, and I've talked about this before, when I was in high school on the dance team, there were weight requirements, which, oh, there was, I had an eating disorder in high school because of it. Because you had to weigh in for every like performance or competition. So, but when did I start this new thing I'm on? It has been a little over 2 years now that I have like really kicked it into high gear again and am on a very strict workout routine and meal plan. I count my calories. I'm on top of it. Why did I do it? Uh, I guess I just looked at myself one day and didn't recognize or liked what I saw. And I decided that I am no longer going to allow things that are going on emotionally to affect anything physically. And I got my ass up and I just went balls to the wall with it. And I don't regret it. I feel better today than I did when I was 25 years younger. And I'm so like strict and routine about it. Um, how do I deal with crybaby men on the internet? I don't. I don't. I just don't. I mean, I haven't really had to for the most part. I've dealt with a lot of crybaby women. Um, I don't know. Oh, shit. What is the most exciting place I've lived? Well, duh. Vegas. There was lots to do there, but there was nothing to do there. That's the thing. Like, if you're an adult and you live in Vegas, you can go to the casinos and do all that stuff. As a teenager, we couldn't do shit. We couldn't do a damn thing. We could go eat at the damn buffets, but who wants to do that? But there was fun things. Like we had the Huntridge Theater, which is where all the good concerts were. We had the Thomas and Mack Stadium, which is where the Grateful Dead played. Never made it out of the parking lot, I'll tell you that. I'm pretty sure I had tickets to get in, but I don't know what happened to them. You just take baby steps, Ash. Just, you don't have to be strict about everything. Just be strict about one thing. And then add another thing to it. Baby steps. What is my greatest accomplishment? My kids. All of the other things don't matter as much as raising these human beings, like actually growing them and giving birth and helping them become the best versions of themselves. And my kids are fucking great. Do they get mouthy sometimes? Yeah, they do. They're my kids. Of course they do. Mini Me she's the one my parents warned me about. She is me on steroids. All of my feisty qualities, that kid has them. My other girl, she is the other side of me. She's the shy, quiet side, although she's getting better about that. My son, couldn't ask for a better son. They have all adjusted really well to changes in their lives. They are very like conscientious when it comes to like financial stability. What is my biggest fear? My biggest fear is, I don't know. Shit, I'm pretty fearless. I guess probably my biggest fear would be ever having to bury one of my children, because that's just unnatural. And I know so many people who have been through that. And as a mother, I just can't imagine. I can't fucking imagine. I would literally feel like one of my appendages was missing if something happened to one of my kids. Yes, like when I was doing true crime and listening to I mean, you guys have all heard Lisa Key talk, not Lisa Kay. Everyone always gets them confused. Lisa Key is the mother of a victim of a case I covered. But just to hear the pain and the agony and the sense of loss in her voice, and it's been years, you never get over that. So I would just never want to go through that. My son was in a car accident his senior year of high school, and he had a TBI. It was a rollover accident. And we didn't know if he was going to wake up, and we didn't know how much of him was going to be there when he woke up. So he was very lucky. But it's just, I remember his friends knocking on our door. Are you asking me if I go to church on Sunday and Wednesday? No, I don't go every week. Yeah, it was just grubby. The accident was awful. They was just inexperienced drivers on a curvy, country, dark, winding road. It was bad. And his wallet got lost in the wreckage somewhere. They didn't know um, who he was at first. His friends were at the same hospital with him, so they were able to come to my house and let me know. It was his friends that came, and I remember his sister, my middle daughter, had a dance competition that day, and I was just getting ready to leave the house to go take her uniform and stuff, and these boys, they're like, we'll take it, we'll do whatever you need. And they took care of his sister so I could go to the hospital and be with him. Hey, Nick. Hey, El Kennedy. So yeah, that would be my biggest fear, is losing one of them. They drive me bananas sometimes, but I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. Let's see. I know that there. Okay. Where do I see myself in 5 years? I'm not really much of a. Let me see how to put this. The way things are going in this world,
I take it one day at a time. I hope to have grown my business a little by then, but if that happens, I'm going to need help because I can't do that much volume on my own. In 5 years, she'll be 5 years older. And then they wanted to know where I see myself in 10 years. I'm going to be old and I'm going to love it. And I hope by that time that my two oldest are happily married and I'm a grandma. And then the youngest one, hopefully, she will be graduating college and just going to be the best mom and Grammy I can be. I will probably always be working in some capacity, not because I have to, but because I want to. I can't just sit idle. I just can't do it. It's not my personality. Let me see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. All right, this was a good question that someone asked. They said, what is one thing that I would change in my life if I could, and why? I would probably, if I could change anything, I would have not been so hard on my parents. Because I was a hellion and I was a brat and I was selfish. And I had, until I became a mom, I could not grasp what I put them through while I was out there living my wild and crazy life. So I probably would have learned to appreciate them a lot sooner because now that they're both gone, it fucking sucks. It really does. There are times that something exciting will happen or one of my kids will do something great and I want to like call my mom right away and tell her and I fucking can't. And that's horrible. It's horrible. But my parents did a great job at making sure that I could be sufficient once they weren't around anymore. Like my dad taught me so much. He taught me how to be independent. And it wasn't that he was raising a little feminist who didn't feel like she needed any man, because I don't believe in that. But he wanted to make sure that if all else failed, because he never liked any of my boyfriends, let's be honest. So he knew there was a possibility I could end up alone. He wanted to make sure that I could change my oil and change a tire and fix a faucet and take a dryer apart. Like, he just taught me so much. My mom taught me all about cooking and cleaning and how to fold laundry. And it's just, I didn't appreciate that stuff when I was younger. And I don't think that most kids appreciate it. But it is just those little things that I waited so late in life to appreciate those things. And I would give anything in the world for just one more day. Okay, enough of that. All right. Is there any more questions from the chat? There was other like silly ones. Someone asked how much I weigh, all that crap. Is my hair naturally red? No, it is not. I put a lot of effort into being this red. I'm naturally a strawberry blonde. Okay. Um, how much do I weigh? 127. I don't know why people ask questions like that because they would never ask anyone that in real life. But whatever. So there was a question, and I know that other people have asked this before, that was, why do I not call out any of the bad behavior that goes on our side of the fence? Well, my answer to that is I have. I might not do it the way you think it should be done. I'm not going to give a checklist of every dirty deed that's been done. Um, Also, I am not the kind of person that if I have any tiny morsel of respect for a person, I will handle that shit privately. I am not going to be up here talking shit about someone that I call a friend or that I have any amount of respect for. I Maybe you haven't listened to any of my lives before, but I have said, I won't say in 100% of them, but I will say probably in 85% of my lives, I have mentioned at least once that I do not condone all of the bad behavior. And then my next part of my answer would be, well, why don't you? So I don't know. It was a weird question. I wasn't even going to turn it into a thing. But apparently, and I wasn't watching or listening, I popped in for about 2.2 seconds, long enough to hear something about community posts. And I turned around and went right back out because I knew what direction it was going in. But I did get some play by plays. And for whatever reason, you know, it just, it didn't have to come to that. It didn't. I am never going to bring one of the mean girls and be like, why did you do this? And I can't believe you did that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm nobody's mama on here. And if you're going to sit here and talk about, well, why are you not calling out the bad behavior on your side? Look to your right and then look to your left. Because there are two people that you hang out with from this community that are total dicks that you enable. I know with the whole enablers title meant, yeah, if you want to call that enabling because I don't call out every little thing, you think I'm going to dogpile on one of my friends when all of the rest of YouTube is dredging up shit from 3, 4 years ago? Absolutely not. We got Connie Sue over there getting a 42-second clip from God knows when. None of that shit matters now. The shit has been done. It's done, over with, in the past. Can't change it, can't rewind it, can't erase it. I went to someone out of respect as a person and out of respect for that person's channel to say, look, you're having issues with my friends. If it's going to cause you problems, I can stay away. Because I don't roll like that. I'm not looking to cause anyone problems. So then I was told, I don't lump you into all that. Yeah, I know you think for yourself. Okay. So somewhere in the span of a couple of hours, that changed. But I will let you know that sometimes you are wrong. And I mean this with all the respect in the world. And thank you, Ross Khan, for the gifted memberships. That is amazing. I have never doxed anyone, adult or child. Never have I ever. One time, one singular time, I posted something about Becky Kimbler's uncle that had a picture from like an obituary or something. It had to do with an obituary that she freaking shared. And then I reposted it. And then out of respect, I apologized and I took that shit down. That is the closest thing I have ever come to doxing anyone. But that was after she had told anybody and everybody about the man. I don't share pictures of people's families. I don't give out addresses. I don't do any of that shit. Do people that I hang out with do it? Yeah, they have. And I will say this one more time. There are people in my circle who have done some shitty things that I don't agree with. But because I am a critical thinker, analytical thinker, I just use my noggin. Okay, let's just be honest about it. I have a tendency to look at things from every angle because nothing is ever just one sided. You have one person who just doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about half the time. He's just up there mumbling, hits the live button and just mumbles. He'll have people on his panel talking about something else, and he's just talking about, oh, you're right, sick. Like, you can't understand what the fuck he's saying. And then you have another one who is just going to trash talk anybody and everybody because he just is so self-righteous and so self-absorbed that he thinks the whole world is beneath him. You know what I noticed though? That person that is so above everyone. I was listening to his live a few nights ago and he had some people on panel and there was a particular live that kept being brought up. And at the end, when everyone was giving their final thoughts, it was stated by someone involved in said live that they didn't really want to talk about it anymore. They felt like it had been talked about enough and that it just brings too much stuff up. And they didn't want to go there. Do you think that motherfucker said, oh, yeah, you're right. I apologize. I'm not going to cover that? No, hell no. Right before he ended his live, he said, all right, everybody. Well, here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be playing that live with completely zero regard for anything that the person involved just said. That's tacky as fuck. Now, maybe y'all dealt with it behind scenes. I hope so. And I hope that that live is not played again. It's freaking March, for fuck's sake. Can we not get over something that happened 3 months ago? I'm not saying that it's insignificant and it doesn't matter. I didn't watch that live, so I don't know exactly what happened. I didn't see it for myself. But I know that everyone walked away with some hard feelings and things like that. You know, okay, everyone's going to have their feelings, and I respect that. I'm referring to the person who, even after being told, I don't want to talk about it anymore, still presented it to his audience like it was going to be a big thing, a big upcoming stream. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't know why it would get played. I don't know. I know why. I know why it would get replayed. because the person who wants to replay it will seize every opportunity possible to take a dig at Nick. So, to the person that asked me why don't call out any of the bad behavior, I'll never call it out the way you want me to. I will always do it one-on-one, privately. If I'm up here talking shit about you on a panel or during one of my lives, it's because I have absolutely no respect for you whatsoever. And probably because you've done your fair share of talking shit about me too. There is no hard feelings. We're good. I don't hate you. It is what it is. But remember how my last live was talking about the fire horse and things exposing and uncovering things so that you can see people and situations for what they really are? This is a perfect fucking example. My last live was nothing about damage control. I haven't created any damage that needed to be swept up. I was seriously had planned that live a few days before. All right, I'm going to have to hop off here because I have to go. Something happened with my kid. Anyway, it wasn't a damage control live. I made a community post about it a few days ahead of time. You know this because you commented on it. And any opinions and all of that that I talked about there was just that. It was opinions. It had to do with me, how I view things. So if you want to consider that damage control, fine. It's damage control. Right now, I'm going to go deal with my kid. Thank you, everyone, for all the questions you submitted. If you have any other questions, let me know. We can do this again and again and again if we need to. I might start asking you guys some questions. So I appreciate all of you for being here. It's probably good that I'm ending now because I was getting a little irritated. Everyone be safe. Don't forget the blood moon is in the morning. Go check out the map on my community page and see what time you can see it. Let all that shit go. That doesn't matter. Be safe, everyone. Love your guts. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.